Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. So today's video is going through a lot of the things that happened over the course of the last week, and with some of them I actually appreciate, but some of them are absolutely rant worthy. And so there is no gameplay in this video, and it is again just my opinion, but I guess you wanna follow me in my with my thoughts. So let's begin with something that is actually pretty positive: the May sale in War Thunder. To get some hefty discounts of between 30 and 50% in the game is always nice, and it is from the 1st till the 11th of May, if I read this correctly. So a few days more to go, and you get 30% off the vehicles and the Civiline and Golden Eagle purchases in game, which is nice. But the only nation that is missing here is obviously the latest nation, the Swedes. And discounts are not applied to vehicles from the Northern Wind and Viking Fury updates, and also squadron vehicles and rank 5-6 vehicles in the Gaijin store. Kind of understandable, but this is exactly where it would matter for me, and where the discounts for everybody else also would make probably the greatest difference in terms of Civilines or Golden Eagles. But maybe that's just me. Then also 30% of modifications, talismans, and backup vehicles. That's quite nice. And then this is one of the best offers: 50% off the premium account for 90 and 180 days. So that is a good investment if you're really in a grinding phase, if you have some free time available. One big bundle that we have to have a closer look at is this for 309 US dollars or euros, and that is the Weapons of Victory bundle. Now there is some stuff, some rare stuff that you kind of don't get anymore, and it would be reduced to 77. That's something around a quarter of the price, so this is worth thinking about. But on the other hand, there are some timeless classics in there, like the Black Cat, like the P-47 premium Spitfires, and the T-3485E still got it in my opinion. On the other hand, there is some stuff that is not up to date anymore, that doesn't really fit the meta that much. For example, the IS-2 Revenge for the Hero Brother pack. That is not a useless tank, but it's not really meta worthy anymore. It depends. So then also you get further discounts if you already have parts of the bundle, then it gets calculated individually. Then you get access to some of those premiums again, but Pershing, no thank you. This was once good once it got introduced, but now it's more power creep, more feature creep, lots of firepower, lots of versatility, but still a heavy fight in my opinion. And that one never forces, so no. Then last chance to get these packs: P-47M, yes. Kyoshimo pack if you really like long lances, and we get more of those big map events in War Thunder for the long lances to shine. Then yes, Tomahawk pack, nope, not really. P-40 Leoncello pack, nope, not really. T-62, nope. USS Cowell, probably one of the best or the second best premium destroyer. And the Centurion, it depends if you like APDS or not. So all in all, not a bad thing, but it could have been a bit better here and there, but that's more or less nitpicking. Then winner vehicles for the Victory Anniversary, and you can get your hands on those 3 vehicles. You have to complete the task and get unique premium vehicles from the victorious nations, so America, Britain, and obviously the Soviet Union. And it is well distributed. You get a tank, the LVT-A4, which we already have in game for the Americans. We have 2 of them. One is an event vehicle with a long 57mm. The other one, I don't remember the weaponry actually. 37mm I think. And this one has a 57mm, now a 75mm short barreled howitzer. So it can get hull broken. It's pretty trollish with the survivability. And then it can likewise hull break you with heat and HE, I guess. Then Swordfish Mark II. Yes, Yes, I need it. And it has access to the RP-3 rockets. If I'm not mistaken, that would be then the only biplane in the game outside of the Soviet tech tree or the Soviet biplanes that has access to rockets. So this is a meme machine, I guess. And then there's obviously the G5 TKA 106, pretty fast, 2 heavy machine guns and rocket launchers. Again, something for your sweet, sweet, wet meme dreams. The task is, now it says tasks. I don't know if you have to fulfill more of them, but this is one task for each. And you know, that's pretty grindy. Destroy 75 enemies, not just in arcade, but also in realistic battle. Oof. And obviously, you can purchase the achievements for Golden Eagles. So you just can buy it. And the grind, well, you know, it's over a period of 4 days, so I guess that should be doable if I'm not mistaken. Then we come to the first rant-worthy quarantine maneuvers in War Thunder. So yeah, there is this there, blah blah blah, and now over the course of 3 days, last weekend, there was an event where this was the following. We invite you to take part in a virtual battles in modern vehicles. I haven't played this, but there is something else that really grinded my gear. And so in high tier lineups, so practically rank 6 and 7 vehicles, you get full lineups for the Soviets, for the Americans, and then what is called the Euro Forces team. And yeah, again, if I'm not mistaken, China is missing. So there is the following rival teams are available. So you have pure Soviets versus pure Americans, pure Soviets versus pure Euro forces, and then Pentagon versus Euro forces team. So practically one of those long-term desired lineups or fights that we never get to see, or extremely rarely get to see in the matchmaker. But now it begins. This is in theory the chance for a new player to get a sniff of high tier feeling. First of all, it's deceiving because as far as I can read, you get the full lineup, you get it, and it is predetermined. You get the full lineup with fully spaded tanks and helicopters with ace crew qualification. You don't have to pay repair costs, there is no grind, etc. Right? Once you get access to the event, you get it. So this is what you get as only a life dedicated player, right? After endless weeks and months of grinding. But nonetheless, maybe this is your first sniff without spending 60 euros on a rank 6 vehicle, a 6 premium tank, right? Or a helicopter, whatever. So this is in theory great. There you could find out in theory if you like it or not, right? And yeah, it is what we actually love. But here begins the trouble. First of all, the map rotation. Alaska, Finland, Middle East, cargo port. Some of the worst maps. The only one that is missing is American Desert. And then, you know, replace it with Vostok. And you have a Hell's map lineup, which is absolutely bad. And you also don't earn civilians and RP and crew skill points, whatever. You can't earn anything, so you're playing for free, but you're playing for literally nothing, just for the fun, I guess. That has its plus points. The absolute worst here, and that destroys everything for what I just said, what in theory could have been the chance for a new player to get a sniff at top tier for free, is this. If you don't have vehicles of rank 5 and above, you will be able to purchase them in the Gaijin net store in order to participate in the event. That's literally a paywall for new players which are not welcome. So they have to spend money in order to participate in an event for 3 days where they even can't grind then. And if I'm reading this correctly, For example, you're buying yourself the rank 5 Soviet premium tank, right? And then you're trying out the Soviets, and they're just not your vehicles, you know. They're looking cool, they're performing cool, but you just want to get a sniff at those Western MBTs, you know, the Americans, Germans, the French, for example, or the new Swedish tech tree, right? First of all, the Swedish rank 5 is still broken. It doesn't work. Hull aiming is garbage. Still not fixed after what, like half a year? Well done, Gaijin. Well done. And it's literally a paywall for new players. That is just so mind-bogglingly bad, because at the end, yes, you get away a bit cheaper than with the rank 6 premiums. But why? For participating in an event. I have never seen something like this. This is pure cash grab. This is the worst. This is a big middle finger from Gaijin to new players. Except if you buy, Tovarish. Because with money you can solve lots of problems. We in Russia, we learned the hard way. But, you know, that's like gone a week. But that was just an absolute no-go. No. That is just pure BS. Anyway, let's move on. A dev block. The new patch is around the corner, right? The MS-15, Italian Navy coming to War Thunder. Where should I begin? So, it's nothing against this little ship, but I've played Italian ships in the closed beta of War Thunder some years ago, where we even had access to some cruisers, right? So that was good when we played them. But the cruiser that I have in memory had 8 6-inch guns, so 8 150, 152mm guns, something in the region of this. So, you know, this patrol boat is nice, it's cool looking. I can imagine fighting some other vehicles that have heavy machine guns or just a handful of 20mm. But already when I come across like, you know, the 1944 version of the S-100, then, you know, it has too much firepower for me to handle. And this is because this needs to be battle rating 1.0 to have a chance, but at battle rating 1.0 there are already some reserve boats that have no chance versus this hell machine because they have light machine guns as armament. This, what I wanted to just present you in a little bit of an example, is the compression. This is, again, new content getting killed off, being dead in the water and left to sink into a watery grave right at the start because the actual problems of naval forces have not been addressed. I hope that Gaijin will bring out a dev block where they just claim that everything has been solved, but I don't think that Gaijin has really taken it to their hearts to rework the economy, to rework the map designs, the objectives, the game modes, the balance, the compression, the game mechanics. None of this gets addressed, but more content gets shoved up the asses of the players. Here is my prediction. Gaijin, again, not addressing the actual problems of naval forces, will see a spike due to new content in the naval forces player base. And remember, this is a new tech tree, so we don't know if Gaijin begins it slowly with a premium destroyer or if they're going full cash grab and offer you outright a premium cruiser. I say this because you will not have access to the new tech tree unless you either play for it via a long time and get the tester stars, like we have seen since the introduction of the American tech tree, the American, what was it? The American tank tech tree. I think that was the first one where they did it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, this is dead content. This is absolutely not worth talking about. And it's just also the cruisers and destroyers, they go straight into the pit with the German heavy cruisers, Admiral Graf Spee, Admiral Hipper, Prinz Eugen, you know, and also all the Soviet fantasy gunships, you know. No, it's that content. That's sadly what it is. I would love to bring you videos on this matter. I would love to play some games with this and have fun and enjoy the graphics and enjoy the feeling of going through this beautiful mottled water, right? And some of the maps that just look like you want to jump off the ship, the boat, and just having and just take a swim, on those beautiful beaches. But how it actually plays out is terrible. It's terrible. It's unfun. And we will see a quick spike in the player population. Gaijin will again earn enough money to continue with this nonsense, but at the end of the day, we're left dead in the water with naval forces after some weeks because premium time is used up. Nobody has interest in ships anymore because they play so awfully. And then we again have the games like right now we have 3 players versus 3 players and the rest is bots after 15 minutes of queue time. That's just what it comes down to. Sad, but true. So then, Warbonds, premium vehicles. That's always a good stuff. And the Corsair F Mark II is good. 0 is always fine. B1 Ter is... Well, it depends what kind of player you are, but it has a really great armor. In a down tier, it's an absolute monster. Neubaufahrzeug, pretty funky. That's a Spitfire. It's the Italian one. You can have practically the same in the Italian tech tree. And I think if you want to play Italy, you want to play an originally Italian plane. So if you ever had the chance to get the G55S, play that one. Yes, significantly more expensive, but still. Type 4, Model 4, a bit split on that. M4, A5, yeah, not so much. But the T-34 57 1943, that's Mike Goes Boom's favorite. So the one thing that I always kind of had to say about this Warbond stuff, you have to be a really dedicated player. You really have to spend so much time and you must practically not miss anything. And then you can get only one of them. And, then you have to spend... war bonds on those stars, and then you have to get so many stars. It's grindy as all hell, and then you get 1 premium per month. So it's up to you. Too grindy in my opinion. But if you're playing the game anyway, why not just watch out for this? It can be fun. Now, so far, all those things were a mixed bag, but then we come to the server update from the 30th of April. So first of all, we get to this table sheet with the main parameters. In just a moment here, it's already opened. And then we have this. In Naval Arcade, civil line rewards for destruction of enemies has been increased by 75%. Okay, where is the change for realistic? And this is, just imagine, an increase by 75%. For civil lines. That already tells you if Gaijin is willing to increase it by that amount, how poor it was in the first place, and presumably how poor it still is. And then we have a line that, ground forces tech tree changes appears way too often. Requirements for sequential research has been added. That removes a lot of flexibility in the early stages of the tech tree, and this goes through a lot of the nations, and that is just simply bad, right? That is just simply bad. It kind of forces you to dedicate your progress to a certain line significantly earlier, and never has been a line requirements for sequential research has been removed. It was only added, never removed. Some finer changes are there, but here is another thing that I absolutely don't understand. The IKV 91 and USH 405 switched places in the tech trees. And then, on top of this, the IKV 91, the battle rating has been changed from 7.3 to 6.7? I mean, yeah, let's just have a look into the game. Look, there it is. This was before 7.3. Now, let's just come together on what this is. This is a light tank that is quick, has good gun handling, has a good reload, and has a 90mm Bofors cannon that has a stock heat defense with 400mm of penetration. That is the same round as the Leopard 1 has, but it has it as a tier 4 modification. The only downside is the combination of the huge magnification and the rather slow muzzle velocity. But you can train this. But you have a stock heat FS for fuck's sake. Why? This is more power creep, this is more feature creep. This is like an RU-251 essentially, in the tech tree, with even more penetration, more than 20% more. What the fuck is wrong with you, Gaijin? What is going on? And this thing, only at 7.0, this should be 7.7 at least, this meme machine. Like, this is where it really gets sour, right? There are so many changes, you can read through them by yourself. And then this. This is a lot of stuff to go through, and I will not go through everything. I concentrate here on the RB repair costs and the RB reward multipliers, presumably for silver lines. So again, so many changes, I cannot go through all of them straight from the beginning, but there is one thing in particular that I wanted to point out. Here is the B29. The stock repair costs have gone up by 4,500 silver lines, from 33,000 to 38,000 silver lines stock. And have the silver line modifiers been addressed? The answer is no. The answer is no. In Simulator it has been even reduced, but the repair costs have gone up. Now this would be just a little bit of a shaking with the head and just be gone with it, or be done with it. But here's the thing. Wasn't there the bomber rework announced with big words? Like, oh, we have listened to the community, we are reducing the repair costs. That was done a while ago, right? So Gaijin thinks that nobody remembers. Maybe Gaijin itself has forgotten. But when they did the change, yes, they cut the repair costs quite a lot. But not completely to the player base's desire, and also to a point where it would make sense. None of the actual problems were addressed. None of what actually caused those high repair costs was addressed. And whenever Gaijin screwed around with, those big bombers that are the actual problem, they screwed over even more so the smaller bombers with smaller bomb load, with less flight performance. But at the same time, when they reduced the repair costs, they also, even more so, reduced the silver line incoming for base bombing. But they have not increased it yet. So they reverted the earlier changes, only with making it even worse. And this is the same with all the big bombers, that includes the Heinkel 177, etc., etc. They still have mind-bogglingly high repair costs. This is absolute bullshit. And then other stuff is like, for the Catalina, a plane that hurt never anybody, they reduced the Silverline income by 30%. Look at this, from a Silverline modifier of 2.0 down to 1.4. That's a reduction of 0.6, aka 30%. What the hell? Yes, there are things that have gone up, significantly so, right? And, now this gets spammed out. This plane that has a significantly better flight performance and offensive armament. And then they... What the hell? What the hell is going on, right? Now, a few further changes have been made, for example, to the German tech tree. Now you could say this is not just applying to the German tech tree, but just as a raw indication. The Admiral Graf Spee, being the ship, being responsible for making all other rank 5 and 4 ships completely irrelevant, because HE meme one-shot salvo has a repair cost of 18,000. because in return it also likes to explode by a single destroy AG shell. It has happened to me, I'm not joking. So the game mechanics don't work. The armor is extremely unreliable. It is bad to play, I don't like it. And a lot of other people don't like it, so they don't play it to begin with. Repair cost 18,000. You know, I kind of understand this if we balance the game like this, but here's the thing. You know, those are the World War II destroyers. They have slow turret rotation speed, they are fragile, but they can fight at longer ranges with other destroyers. Then we have also even the Narvik-Zerstörer, the Z-32, with its 5.9 inch guns, right? Repair cost is a reasonable 5,000 something. Not that it would hurt anybody, but here's the thing. Albatross 7,400, TS Boat Project 206 7,000. But you know, imagine you create something like a frigate, okay? And here it comes big time. You create a frigate, put it a rank lower, make the grind intense, and then to balance it, you give it a 43,000 civil line repair bill for the current class, the F220. Yes, it's really good performing, but if you start on a map, there is nothing that you can do, and you can and will fight cruisers, and you have no armor piercing, you have no armor, and you explode with the first or the second salvo, and 43,000. No wonder nobody's playing that, and for 270,000 RP as a rank 2 battle rating 4.3 vehicle? What the hell were you thinking, Gaijin? And this trend continues through all nations, through all tech trees. The higher it goes, the more maddening it is. This is why Gaijin has also wasted the huge potential of a decompression. There is enough content and there were enough players, right? We had recently the peak of 223,000 players, something in the region of that. And since then it has dropped down again, you know? And when was Gaijin thinking about a decompression, if at all? Because it is more than mandatory. It's long overdue. But Gaijin just wastes time, and they just want to quench out even more money from the game. Fun is not allowed. War Thunder, almost fun. Yes, true it is. Man, I love War Thunder. I'm playing this game for the better part of 7 years, more than 7 years. And there is so much good stuff. It's always just baffling how much Gaijin insists on the big piece of shit on top of this beautiful cake that is War Thunder. If they wouldn't insist on the bullshit, this would be the best game that there is. I mean, just look at this. Even the camera for ships in the hangar doesn't work. Oh, I see a vertical barrel. Ooh, beautiful. Just... You know, I don't want to rant, but whenever I see bullshit aligning itself like that, how can I resist to get out there and tell what I think about it? I guess a lot of people don't like me ranting. I completely understand it. Some really appreciate the thoughts that I bring to the table behind this, but come on, why do we have to go through this bullshit every single patch? Gaijin then finally moving their asses to fix something a little bit half-assed like the bomber rework, and then several patches later it's getting worse like it was before. That's One final thought about bomber repair costs. You know what this actually promotes? If you have a plane like this, why was it introduced? What was it? 3.7, something like this. Now it sits at 9,500. But this one in particular, look, nearly 40,000 civil line repair costs. That's bullshit. So if I actually make it to the bombing area, I don't want to risk this plane at all. I do space climbing, the same with the B-29, with the Tu-4, etc, etc, etc. What the hell? What the hell? And one final thing about the repair costs for tanks. You know, there is the mouse. The mouse, apparently, you can't really balance it. It has 13,000 silver line repair costs. 13,000. For it to get AP-FSDS, then ATGM'd and bombed and rocketed, etc., etc. But you know, people just love to play the mouse once in a while because it's a meme. It has been removed from the tech tree, so the average mouse player has more and more upgrades available for this tank. So its statistics, while the end statistics don't change, overall the tank gets better in its lifetime. Exactly because it was removed from the tech tree, like the Tiger 105, like the Panther 2, like the Coelian, right? They go steadily up in repair costs. But again, back to the mouse. It has a coaxial 75, it has the main gun and the turret, etc., and the mobility is atrociously bad. So it's very similar to the E100, right? It is more or less the same tank. The main changes are these days more cosmetic. They were something to watch out for a few years ago. And again, repair costs 13,000. Explain me why this tank has nearly 40,000. That is 3 times the repair cost. Explain to me how this makes sense. The tank is not an Object 120. The tank is as slow as the mouse, as big as the mouse, with as bad of a horsepower to ton ratio as the mouse. Yes, the top speed on paper is twice as good, but you're on a flat terrain, you're as fast as the mouse. Firepower, armor, maneuverability is more or less the same. So why 3 times the price? It's a rare vehicle to begin with and gets sold for up to 1,800 euros on the marketplace. This automatic balancing system, what it effectively is bullshit, and it is making things worse. Like, if you are a new player and you just don't know everything about the game and there is just so much to know about, right? You get punished by the repair costs. If you just research the thing, you just want to spade it, you just want to play it in a fair manner, right? And you just get shot down in a plane, or you get bombed or killed in one way or another in a tank, you get punished for it, right? So you don't play the expensive vehicle, but the very good people in War Thunder, you know, where they have it fully upgraded with the best of crews and they're playing it in a squad, they're playing it and they know how to prevent dying, like also returning to the airfield, landing and bailing out, for example. Or when they see right at the start of the game in an expensive tank that it's a full up tier, they just don't deploy this tank. They are sacrificing some minion tanks in this battle. They're waiting for the down tier, right? And this is exactly the problem, because then the statistics for this tank, plane, ship get even better. So the repair costs will rise, making it even worse. And it has been just like that from the very start. Why is this bullshit still happening? Why are we forced to really endure this as players? Because it makes stuff even worse than it is in the first place. And whatever Gaijin devs say these days, you can't really trust it anymore. And to be honest, you never could. So, one thing about my content, if you missed like some videos from me, I planned to play the STRV 122. I also wanted to play the J35D. But when this came out, it had a 35,000 repair price tag. And you know, I tried to do something, just going into the match and just trying out things. This thing doesn't fit the meta, so I was shot down by air-to-air missiles, and you know, I still have 3 free repairs remaining, because just like the STRV 122, I got it from Gaijin, which I'm very grateful for. But it just blocked my mind. I couldn't force myself to play this thing, and from having fun, you can't even dream of thinking about that. So that is my problem. War Thunder, it's almost fun. Man, get your shit together, Gaijin. Really?